Hi, my name is Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking about rail walks.
Rail walks are a fun freestyle trick because they live somewhere between rail flips and footwork. They let you walk around the board so you can stylishly get into the proper foot positioning for whatever trick you're trying to do, and they're fun.
Before trying this trick, you'll definitely want to know how to get both into and out of a rail stand or primo, and you probably want to know how to shuffle around a little bit in rail. If you know how to shuffle, then when you do the rail walk and you get slightly off balance, a lot of the times you'll be able to shuffle your feet and be able to stay on the board instead of falling off.
To do a rail walk, you first need to get into heelside rail, where the deck is below your heels. Here your feet are balanced on top of the deck, trucks and wheels. Bend your knees, take your front foot and pull it back about a third down the deck to step there with the ball of your foot. Then bring your back foot to cross in front of the foot on the edge of the deck and step onto the opposite wheel. You unwind your front foot so that it's now floating next to your body with nowhere to step down, and hop sideways back to the starting position.
Now this trick can be deceptively hard, so I'm going to go over a few tips that will hopefully help break this down and make it a lot easier.
Bend your knees. Bending your knees is one of the most important parts of this trick. For one, falling like this where you flip the board by accident is incredibly common when learning this trick. But if you bend your knees, you'll be able to fall safely. If you fall with your knees straight, it's more likely to hurt or knock you to the ground. Keeping your legs straight will also put a lot of pressure in the center of your board and make flipping the board over more likely. So keep those knees bent. 2. A lot of people do this trick with their foot in the center of the board, but I would recommend starting with your foot either 1/3 down the board or even right next to the trucks. I say this because the board is a lot more stable there and you're less likely to flip the board over. It's just more solid of a base in the beginning. Then as you get better, you can slowly move your foot closer to the middle of the deck. 3. Keeping with the theme of knocking your board over, make sure you're using the ball of your foot and not anywhere else. The ball of your foot is going to keep your weight going straight down instead of accidentally pushing in any one direction. You especially do not want to push back. 4. I also found that tilting my foot makes being in rail quite a bit easier. I feel like I have a lot more balance when my foot is tilted compared to when it isn't. You can definitely do both a straight foot or a tilted foot, but I find tilting my foot to be easier. And 5, the same goes for your shoulders. When you open up your shoulders and hips, it's a lot more open to step across the rail to the wheel. So don't feel like you need to keep your shoulders or foot parallel with the board. Try to stay comfortable and adjust your body the way you need to.
Next, I'm going to break down the motion that your feet need to make. Now, I used to think of it as 2 parts. You have the crossover and then the hop back. And so in my mind, I would always be focused on only one of those 2 motions at one time. Crossover, rest, hop back. Crossover, rest, hop back. And that really broke it up for me and allowed me to kind of tackle it in smaller pieces. I tried to do each of the 2 parts smoothly, but I wasn't really concerned about the entire trick looking smooth yet, because most of the time I would just cross my feet over, get to I think it's the nose of the board, and then I'd just end up tilting forward anyways. So I wasn't too concerned. I just wanted to get those 2 parts down. And in order to do this crossover well, you have to be really light on your feet. So when you're standing over the trucks and you move your front foot back, you don't really want to push down hard with that front foot while moving your back foot to the other trucks. You want this foot to stay really light.
It's really subtle, but you can see here that the center of gravity in my hips is kind of creating an arc as I step across the board, where my weight goes up and over the deck from one wheel to the other. That means I don't really set my weight down heavily in the middle of the board when I make the first step. In fact, it's more like a guide than a step, because my weight stays over the wheels for the most part. It merely passes over the middle of the deck. This is really tough to explain, but it's an important part of the trick to me, and feel free to hold on to something when practicing this. The only thing I haven't talked about yet is the hop. Hopping from your back foot to the starting position can be really scary at first, so I suggest working on this separately if you need to. You can see here that it doesn't have to be a jump, it's really a tiny hop, and you can keep your center of gravity right where it is. If you look closely, when I do this trick, I often land with one foot first, and the second foot touches down right after to help me balance. This is one way to keep your center of gravity where it is, which was easier for me in the beginning. In fact, I recommend just practicing the hop like this, where all you need to do is push down through the ball of your foot so you can have a little hop, and switch your feet so you land on the other foot. If you can do this, you're golden. You can either hop back to the center with both feet simultaneously, or you can hop to switch your feet and then bring your torso back to the center.
Especially in the beginning, I would always lose my balance when jumping from my back foot back to the starting position. And that's kind of why I ended up doing my little weight switch hop. That was my way of coping with the inability to just jump back to the center. But both ways are excellent ways to work on this trick. They both work, and I think they both look good. So don't worry about it. And as always, have fun and experiment, because the best part of freestyle is being able to tweak every little trick and truly make it your own style. To approach this trick, I recommend warming up by getting into and out of rail, and then just really break it down into the cross step and then back to hopping, and you can definitely do it. I would also recommend right from the beginning to work on this both regular and switch. If you can learn this trick in one direction, to also try to learn it in the other. That opened up a lot of movement for me right in the beginning, which was really helpful. Now it might be really wobbly at first, but you can definitely do it. Now in this video, I performed the trick on a freestyle setup. It can be done on a normal skateboard, but it is much harder, and I can show you why. A freestyle skateboard is characterized by the fact that the axle and the bolt do not stick out from the edge of the wheel. The wheels are offset so that the axle can be covered by the wheel, and therefore when you are in rail or primo, you have a very stable base. However, on your average street skateboard, the axle sticks out from the wheel, and so when you're trying to balance in rail, these axles are not the most stable thing to stand on. And you can definitely do the rail walk on a setup like this, but it's obviously much easier doing it on a freestyle setup or with freestyle wheels on your skateboard, so that axle's covered up and you're extra stable. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope to see you next time.